And then the policeman asked him, "Are you the owner of this gun?" Him being a very stubborn and quick-tempered man, he started shouting at the policeman, "I don't know anything concerning this. I don't know." And you know, Nigerian police, the next thing, trigger happy and he shot. Immediately he shot. I don't know if the bullet pierced the eye or it was fragments from the bullet, and the two eyes started bleeding instantly. And then they were put in handcuffs and taken to the police cell, and they were kept in the cell for more than a week. Now, there was a time while I was still in the university, at the hostel where I used to stay, I was the mayor of the hostel, like the caretaker of the hostel. Now, there were two other gang members, different gang members in the same hostel. But based on the respect they had for me, everyone was maintaining, they were living in peace in the hostel. But immediately I graduated from the hostel, things escalated.
Wow.
And the two secret cult groups started a fight. One of the members in my hostel gave information to the other cult group. The other cult group allegedly, this guy, they allegedly gave information to his cult members, and these cult members came and then they killed the other guy that belonged to the other cult in the hostel. They killed him there in the hostel, in the same hostel. Now, this my friend, knowing what has happened, he packed his bag and he left Nigeria. He left his school and he ran away to Ghana.
My God.
There in Ghana, I don't know if he's scammer. He ran mad. He was mentally unstable.
Wow.
After a while, they took him back to Nigeria. He was medically attended to and he gained himself. But guess what? Depression set in. He was now depressed. After a month of depression, this young man hanged himself. He committed suicide. That was his end.
My God.
That was his end. Okay, imagine a young man that has graduated with a wife, with a child, doing well. He has his own business. You know, there was this court clash that was going on in Sapele, Delta State.
Wow.
Imagine January this year. I think on the 2nd or on the 3rd. Wow. This young man went to his boutique. Some people came to buy some things from him in the boutique. And the rival cult group, they came into this boutique and they shot him. They shot the customers. They killed all of them.
Jesus Christ.
This is January. I'm talking about January this year.
My God.
You know?
Just few months back.
Some months back. And that was how he was killed. His life was cut short. Imagine he has made he now has a widow left. Who will take care of the widow? Who will take care of the child? They are now living at the mercy of public. You know, so there is no good thing coming out of cultism. It will either end in death. Either you are permanently disabled. You may run mad. Depression will set in.
Indeed.
You know, and there is a serious problem we are facing now in the society. Because before, it's very rare to see a cult group possessing an AK-47 or a pump action machine gun. It is very rare. They operate with machetes or these locally made guns. But recently, because of the surge in internet fraud, you find out that they can afford these guns. Let it be 1 million naira, they can buy it. Let it be 500,000, they can buy it. So they have these ammunitions widespread. And another problem is you find out that inside the government, you find members of these cult groups. Inside the government, you find commissioners that are cult members. You find House of Rep members that are cult members. You find senators that are cult members. Even some governors are cult members. When it comes to election time, you see how they rally these boys. They go to prisons. They set most of them free because they have use for them. Now you find out that some kind of sophisticated guns that you can only find in action movies, you begin to see them in the hands of these cult boys, because these our so-called diplomats can import guns from different countries.
Yeah, they are licensed to do so.
There was a time we saw a clergyman that his aircraft was being used to transport guns to Nigeria.
Jesus
A
Christ.
clergyman. Do you understand? So we are in a big mess. I pray God help us.
Indeed, we hope so, we pray so.
Mm.
It's so terrible because coming to look at it from the stance of, having these politicians, being involved in such acts, sometimes because of their authorizations, and their influence, they tend to, add to it in a major way. So I feel majorly, anyway, I don't want us to, be detailed on that, but I know that there are some, involvements from the political sector that give a rise to cultism, and I would advise that such politicians desist from such. You understand? So as a nation like this in Nigeria now, as a society, as a state, I would love to know what can be done. What can we do to end the rise of cultism? Is it possible? If it's possible, what can be done? What are the things to do? Because there are parents who are watching this right now. There are a lot of people in stakeholders, and what can we do? What can be done to resolve issues like this, to stop it?
Okay, good. Thank you. Cultism has eaten into the very fabric of the society. Cultism can be curbed, can be curtailed. Now, it's an holistic thing. Everybody must put their hands on deck. The religious houses, the government officials, parents, the schools, holistically, everyone must work to curb this menace that we have right now. As my initiative, Bring Back Our Youth initiative, we try the possible best that we can to orient and to intimate the secondary schools and the primary schools of the evils that are associated in cultism and other social vices. We tell them with life stories, we tell them with pictorials, we show them evidences, so they will see these things and then they will know firsthand. And then we try as much as possible to give them some writing materials that some literatures that we have produced that carry a lot of stories, so that when they get back to their houses, they can still go back to those literatures and read and reread again. So they will have those experiences. Now, coming down to the religious bodies. I've seen a video where a young man that is purported or alleged to be an internet fraudster comes into the church and was spraying new naira bills on the pastor. And there is a popular song that they used to play in club. They used to say do re me and then no do re me, and that was what the choir was singing, and the pastor was dancing to it. That church is in Sapele. So the religious body, they need to go back to the foundation of love, the teachings of love. That being said, on the religious side, now back to the government. The government, they are trying. I won't say they are not trying, because I don't know the capacity that they have. They have programs of that can employ the youth. They have, like in Delta State, they have a STEP. They call it STEP. They have YAGEP. They have a Project Jest for the girl child. These are programs that have been designed. They have Project RISA by the Ministry of Youth and Development. These programs have been designed to engage youth, to develop entrepreneurial skills. Now, the government also, they still need to try their best to make sure that these slots are given to those that really need it. They need to put a good system to checkmate the people that are being given these slots. Because you find out that the same set of persons that did it last year, you see them coming up again this year. You find the ones that have benefited from Project STEP. You see them benefit again from Project YAGEP. You see them benefit again from Project RISA, because they have their relatives as commissioners, they have their relatives as essays, and they have their slots. So the government really need to do that. Now, coming down to the secondary school and primary school level, the government, they need to enforce something like an educational marshal.
Okay.
We used to have it in Delta State before. I think during the time of Governor Ewita Udwara,
Okay.
we used to have the educational marshals. They go out on the road. If they see a child that is supposed to be in school, they carry that child, they arrest that child, they look for the parents. They make sure that child goes to school. Then you don't used to see children walking on the road of Delta State. You don't used to see them because these educational marshals, they make sure that these children go to school. Do you understand? But now we don't have them anymore. If you go to a place called Interbao in Asaba, you see children under the flyover. If you go to a place called Koka in Asaba, you see children under the flyover. If you go to a place called Efun Roundabout in Warri, you see children under the flyover around the ShopRite premises.
Even during school hours.
I'm talking about during school hours.
My God.
You see them there. You see some walking on the road. If you go to the markets, you see children selling pepper and tomato while they are supposed to be in school. So the government, they need to do a rejig on this, even as a country at large. Yes, we need to do. Now, the last and not the least, which is the most important, is the parents. The children see the parents as the first role model.
Indeed.
Whatsoever you do, it's being imprinted into your child. If you always smoke and your child sees you smoking on a regular basis, it's being imprinted into that child as smoking is a normal thing. If your child sees you drinking alcohol, the child sees it as a normal thing. The child sees you associating with gangsters, the child sees it as a normal thing. So, as parents, we need to change our parenting lifestyle. We need to be inclusive in the lives of our children. When they come home with pencils that we did not buy for them, we say, who is the owner of this pencil? Where did you get this pencil? If it's for you to follow that child to school the next day, follow the child. Make sure you take that pencil to this child's teacher and say, this pencil is not for my child. Who does it belong to? You know? So we need to work on that. Then the teachers, they need to also take up the responsibility of training these children as their own children. That also lies, the onus also lies on the government. The government should bring in incentives, good pay for these teachers and lecturers so they can teach well. Because if you go to our secondary schools today, you see some selling used clothes, okrika. You see some in the class breaking melons to sell. You see some selling zobo, you know, and all sorts during lecture hours. You know, so the government, if you ask them, they'll tell you that the pay the government is not much, is nothing to write home about, and sometimes the pay don't come on time. You know, so they have to fend for themselves. So the government also has a part to play in this too. The Ministry of Women and Child Development, that Ministry of Women Affairs has a lot of work to do because they are the people that interface with the family. They need to go to families. They need to come up with a program that go to families and interface with them and talk to them about morals and child upbringing.
That's right. I think you've done a good job to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so if you guys out there, you've watched this, and I'm sure as parents, you've been able to hear from the horse's mouth someone who has been into the system, and you know, by the grace of God, it was being saved. So you've seen the ripple effects. You've heard the ripple effects. How, you know, cultism is such a danger zone for any life to get involved with. So I'm sure as parents out there that you have to, you know, educate your children more and see to it that you make them understand the reason why they shouldn't get themselves involved with such acts. You understand this? So I think with that said, you know, every one of us putting hands on deck, we're going to make a better society. So thank you very much for watching, and also our advice that you know, click on the subscribe button so as to get the more videos of this kind next time. Thank you very much.